Hello everyone, welcome to our second part of our lesson, which falls under contemporary socio-economic issues. Alright, the subtopic that we'll be focusing on is unemployment and unproductive labor force. So now, when we say someone is unemployed, what are we referring to? When someone is unemployed, we're talking about that individual who's actively looking for employment but cannot find employment. So when you're actively looking for employment, what are we referring to? We are referring to someone who's sending out CVs, who's applying for jobs. Then, if as an individual I decide to stay at home and not look for employment, it means I do not fall part of the statistics for unemployment because I am not looking for employment and it's by choice. Now, there are many reasons why people are unemployed. The first one, it could be due to lack of skills and qualifications. Now, we know that in South Africa, if you do not have the necessary skills and qualifications, it can be difficult to find employment. Another reason, it can be due to it can be retrenchment due to poor economic conditions. Now, if our economy is going through a difficult situation or if there's a negative impact in our economy, it means now people are going to be retrenched. Now, when we're talking about retrenchment, we're talking about, let's say, a reduction in the labor force. When a business enterprise decides to reduce its labor force because of economic conditions that are going through a difficult time. Then now the other reason could be due to lack of job opportunities. Now, some people can acquire the necessary education or qualification but struggle to find employment due to difficulties in our economy as well. Now, socioeconomic issues such as poverty and unemployment, they create a vicious cycle. Now, in what sense? Unemployed people usually have very little money to spend. So when they have very little money to spend or no money at all, it means now they will not spend much in business enterprises. And when they do not spend, it means that businesses will not have the opportunity to grow and to expand. When business enterprises cannot grow and expand, it means now they will not be able to have any job opportunities or to be able to hire more people. So now let's move on to the next one, which is an unproductive labor force. Now, when we talk about an unproductive labor force, we're talking about what? When someone cannot complete a reasonable amount of work in a reasonable amount of time. Now, a business enterprise must set and achieve performance target to be profitable. So, as a business enterprise, in order for it to be profitable, they have to set a target or a monthly target. That's why sometimes we find that in a working environment, people are, or individuals or employees are being granted, let's say, performance pay just to motivate them, or employee of the month, so that they can show, or so they can motivate them to work even harder. So now, a business that does not set a performance target, it will be unproductive. So now when they are unproductive, this will add cost to the business enterprise. In what sense? Let's say, for example, there's a target for the month. That target, let's say, or there is a deadline. So when a business enterprise does not meet its deadline collectively, it means now they'll have to try to source out other means, which means sometimes they'll have to hire more staff or hire more employees in order for the work to be complete. Now, when they start to hire more individuals or more employees, it means now they're adding their expenses. So when they add expenses to their business will not be profitable, or it will reduce profit. Expenses will be more than profit, which will result in a loss. All right, now let's move on to unemployment and unproductive labor force influence business enterprises in the following ways. The first one, limited growth and expansion. So I think I have outlined the virtuous cycle whereby limited growth can be caused by the fact that people are unemployed. When they are unemployed, they do not have enough money to spend on businesses. When they do not spend money on businesses, businesses do not grow and expand. And when they do not grow and expand, it means now they will not be able to hire more individuals. Now, with increased labor costs, you know that when a business does not meet its target, it means now they will have to hire more people, which will result in increased labor cost. And when we increase the labor cost, which is an expense, it will affect profit, or it will reduce profit. At the end, it will result in a loss. Now we're going to move on to our second subtopic, which is HIV and AIDS. Now, HIV and AIDS is an abbreviation for human immunodeficiency virus. According to medical science, this virus causes AIDS. So now we all know that AIDS is a chronic disease where a person loses cellular immunity, which affects the person's ability to fight off infections. Like, for example, presently we do have coronavirus. Someone living with this chronic disease, which is HIV and AIDS, might not have the ability to fight off this coronavirus. So people with AIDS are more inclined to contract diseases than people who do not have AIDS. So as let's say we have two individuals, one who has AIDS and one who does not have one. In terms of infections, the one who has who is at risk of infections is the one who is HIV and AIDS positive. Now, employers may not discriminate against people who live with HIV and AIDS. So now, as employers, it is your responsibility, or it's their responsibility, to ensure that people living with HIV and AIDS are not being discriminated, but rather they need to support or show support to those living with HIV and AIDS by accommodating their needs. However, AIDS will influence productivity in a business enterprise in what sense? Business enterprise should devise policies and strategies for dealing with HIV and AIDS. Now let's look at the influences that HIV and AIDS has on business. The first one, we have high absenteeism. Now, when there's high absenteeism, it means employees living with HIV and AIDS will generally need more sick leave than employees who do not have AIDS. So the moment they start to be absent, it means now productivity will reduce. And when there's reduced productivity, it means now there will be high labor costs, because you'll be paying employees for not doing or for not producing sustainable goods. Now, reduction of the business enterprise labor force. Sick employees will eventually stop working. So now, when sick people stop working, it means now companies will have to start with their recruitment processes, try to look for new employees, which will take time and cost a lot of money to the employers. This means that the work must now be done by fewer employees. Now, reduction in the country's workforce, because the HIV and AIDS prevalence rate in South Africa is so high, it reduces the labor force in general. So reduction in the country's workforce, it affects the whole country as well. So now, increased recruitment cost, for example, HIV and AIDS causes business enterprises to hire employees more frequently. Let's say, for example, instead of focusing on growing and expanding the business, they'll be frequently looking for new employees, because the ones that they have presently can no longer perform their duties, or they decide to leave work. Okay, this puts an additional financial burden on businesses.